Okay. Good evening, and thank you all for attending tonight's Whole Child Health webinar on social media awareness. My name is Rachel McCune, and I'm the coordinator of school counseling for the district. I am very excited to introduce to you my co-presenters this evening, Chief David Ryder with the FBISD Police Department and Ernesto Reyes with Crime Stoppers. In tonight's presentation, Chief Ryder is going to be sharing important information regarding school threats and investigating those reports, safety and security precautions, reporting procedures, how families can support, and consequences for making a threat against a school. Then Crime Stoppers will provide an overview of potential online dangers, cybercrime trends, popular social media and gaming platforms, and online monitoring tools to assist in keeping students safe while using the internet. So at this time, without further ado, I'm going to pass it over to Chief Ryder. Thank you all again.
Good evening. Thank you, Rachel, and thank you, Ernesto from Crime Stoppers for inviting me to be with you all tonight. Just a little introduction about myself. My name is David Ryder. I've had the pleasure of serving as the Chief of Police here in Fort Bend ISD for 12 years. I have 30 years in law enforcement, and the last 24 of those have been with school district law enforcement, so a very specialized niche in law enforcement, as you can imagine. And so had a lot of experience in dealing with the social media threats over those 24 years in school district policing. But so we want to talk about that tonight, and kind of make you aware of some of the things that we do and how we handle those. First of all, I want to say that what happened in December, before we went on break for the winter break, that was not unique to Fort Bend ISD. There were a number of social media threats nationwide. It hit schools locally, statewide, and nationwide. And so we found ourselves dealing with something that everybody else was dealing with as well. But I'm very proud of the way that we handle those and the efforts that we put into it to identify the folks that were responsible for that. I think the most important thing to mention here is the reporting aspect. We want to make sure that our students and our staff members have a safe environment in which they can come every day and learn in. And when somebody selfishly and maliciously makes a threat against a school, that disrupts that environment, and it's unnerving, and we understand that. And so it's really important that that we are made aware of that as soon as you see something. As soon as you see it, say it, tell us about it. A lot of times what we find is students might hear a threat or whatever, and then they put it on their social media channel, and it starts to spread. And we lose valuable time in trying to do a quick investigation and identify a person that might be responsible for it. So it's very important to tell the police department first, and not spread that on social media. That really helps us tremendously. So as parents, I would encourage you to be active in your child's social media. Know what they're looking at, know who they're talking to, ask questions. It's okay to ask questions of who your children are interacting with on social media, because a lot of times people pretend to be somebody they're not on social media. If they see something that's threatening, or you see something that's threatening or concerning, or that you might think it's unsafe for the campus, please report it to us immediately. And there's several different ways you can do that. You can tell an administrator, a teacher, a trusted adult. You can also submit information through Crime Stoppers. The Fort Bend ISD Crime Stoppers program is 281-491-TIPS. 281-491-TIPS. You can certainly call Crime Stoppers. We have a See Something, Share Something mobile reporting app that we've launched, so you can download that as well. The QR code is on the back of every student ID card. that we've issued out. Reporting information quickly through the proper channels, it drastically reduces the amount of time that we spend investigating, and we can get to it very quickly. Our dispatch number is, we have a dispatcher that's on duty 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And that number is 281-634-5500. And I think we could put these numbers maybe in the chat so that everybody can see them. You don't have to scramble to find a pen or a pencil and write it down right now. So very quickly, in the short time that I have here, the way we investigate these, we take every threat very seriously. When a threat is reported, our department immediately begins an investigation. It doesn't matter what time of the day it is or what day of the week it is. We immediately begin an investigation, and we use computer forensics to start that investigation. We have an investigator that is dedicated to computer forensic investigations. That's cell phones, computers, social media. We have an intelligence operator on duty that she can monitor social media accounts and help us track down the owners of these accounts. We also have where we interview students, and we want to find out where they saw the information, where they heard it from, what site did they get it from, and we do home searches. We will go to people's houses and ask questions and ask to search rooms to make sure that there are no weapons in the house or any means of being able to hurt somebody. We typically send subpoenas to social media platforms to get IP address information, and that helps us identify who's responsible for these threats. We coordinate a lot with local law enforcement agencies, with federal agencies, again, with the social media platforms. Those are all important tools for us to be able to determine. A lot of times these threats come in anonymously. Somebody's created a false profile, or they're on a page that they think is anonymous. And what's important as a parent, what's important to be able to tell your kids is that no matter what you do on the internet, no matter what device you post it from, there is always a digital footprint. Every single time you hit send, there is a digital footprint. It's like a fingerprint. It's unique to that situation. And there are ways to find that. And so we have tools and resources in our school district police department that we've put in place over the 12 years that I've been here, that we are able to quickly identify the people that are responsible for that. And those are criminal offenses, and they're very serious. We're always going to take necessary precautions to keep our students and staff safe. So when we do get a threat, until we can find the resolution, we're going to support the campuses with extra officers or increased patrol. We're going to contact other agencies to help us. And we're going to take immediate disciplinary action. And when I say we, the district, the school district police department is not involved in the disciplinary action of students. We are specifically not involved in that according to the law. We only deal with the criminal aspect side of that. So it is important to know that if a student or an adult makes a threat towards a school, we're going to investigate from a criminal standpoint, but the school is going to investigate from a student code of conduct standpoint. And so there's going to be consequences on both sides. And sometimes students may be joking. They may say they're joking, but we don't take that as a joke. A good example of that is, most everybody has flown on an airplane, and you're standing in line waiting to go through the metal detectors, and there are signs that say there's no joking about bombs, right? If you made a joke about having a bomb in your suitcase, I can guarantee you they're going to pull you out of line, and you're going to miss your flight. there are some consequences for that. And so it's the same thing here. We don't take it as a joke, even though the students may say they're joking or they don't have the means to carry it out. It's still a serious offense. We will pursue any applicable criminal charges, and many times those are felonies because they disrupt a school environment. So, but the other thing to remember is that we're dealing with kids most of the time, and every student has a story, and every student is afforded due process, just like everybody else in our society. That's part of our system. And so as we are working on the criminal case, the school may be working on the student code of conduct aspect of it. And there's some due process issues that we have to adhere to. Not every student is on the same level emotionally or mentally or education wise. And so there are some things that we have to follow by law before we can just suspend somebody for making a joke. Now, of course, if it's a serious case and we think there's a serious threat, that student's not going to be in school immediately. But just understand that we have a process. Every campus has a campus threat assessment team. We call them a CSTAT. And anytime there's a threat made, those students are interviewed by multiple people on the CSTAT team, and they're from different disciplines. It could involve a law enforcement officer that is specifically trained in that, a counselor, an administrator. And if that CSTAT team, between that group of people, determined that the threat was not substantive, that it was a transient threat, meaning that there was no intent to carry it out, it was a joke, the student admitted it, we can corroborate that, then the penalties from a discipline standpoint probably won't be as severe as if there was an intent to carry out a threat. That doesn't change for us, though. We still pursue all applicable criminal charges. Again, discipline is separate than the criminal aspect. And so it's important to know that. Now, if the CSTAT team, the campus level, determines that, hey, this was a serious threat and we think there's something to it, then we have a district level threat assessment team that includes our own child psychologist, multiple licensed professional counselors, and some police officers that are specially trained in that. And the district level team will do an assessment as well. And that's in order to determine what the threat was, if there was means to carry it out. Do we need to get that student some resources, some assistance? And so that's a whole nother level. And those are things that we've put in place over the last couple of years that has really helped us narrow down and identify how we can help students and those who have made some type of threat to our schools, whether they were joking or not. So again, I would encourage you to speak to your children about what they communicate to others. Let them know that any threatening comments about school safety or student safety, whether it's made in person or any other form, those are going to be treated seriously. And each student is bound by the student code of conduct, and the school is going to take appropriate disciplinary action. So when these rules are violated, they're going to have consequences on the school side, and then they're going to have consequences on the law enforcement side. And we certainly don't want our students to have to deal with the criminal justice system. That is not our intent. That's not our goal. We want to provide a safe environment. Unfortunately, there are times where we do have to take law enforcement action. And we have again, I just want to reassure you, we have the tools and the resources to get to the bottom of these threats and to identify who's responsible for them. And so I'm very proud the work that our investigators did and our officers did during the Christmas break, over the break and right before the break. There were a lot of threats, and we were able to identify a lot of folks responsible for those. And so that was some good work by them. But it wasn't just Fort Bend. Again, this was a nationwide issue. Luckily, things have calmed down over the since we've come back, and hopefully they'll remain that way. Sometimes we see in the 24 years that I've been in school district police work, they come in seasons. So a lot of times when you're coming up on a major holiday, or you're at a time where finals are about to be taken, we find that some kids make some bad choices and post things thinking that we're going to cancel school or evacuate or get out, and they're going to be able to miss school. And that's not the case. It doesn't work that way. So all it does is create some hardship for them. And so we want to avoid that. That's our goal here, is to bring awareness to it, and to get you to understand how you can help us. Between all of us that are here on this, we have 58 participants right now. And so if everybody is eyes and ears for their school, that helps us out tremendously. So we encourage you that if you see something, say something, send it to us immediately. Call us, call our dispatcher. We'll put those numbers in there. I'll put them in the chat. And so I just want to thank you for your time tonight. I know Ernesto is going to talk about some Crime Stopper information, and it's an honor to be here. And thank you again.